welcome to my channel. We are watching Utah v. Kouri Richins. Kouri Richins allegedly killed her husband with fentanyl and then wrote a children's book about grief for her son. Specifically, it became a bestseller. She went on a book tour, and then there were allegations of foul play. So, hey Judy, hey Wiggles, hey Marty, hey Nichelle. I don't know why my forwards don't work. They do sometimes. They work for me on my laptop. As long as you guys find me. I'm sorry, I try. Yeah, this is weird. Jury selection for this trial began 2:10 and ended on 2:11. 12 jurors were selected with 8 to decide the verdict, leaving 4 alternates. Jury selection was all done via Zoom. I have never known jury selection to be done over Zoom before. Although the courtroom was open to the public, potential jurors appeared over Zoom, which is bizarre to me. This trial is expected to last approximately 5 weeks, y'all. And this is in Utah. So it's in another time zone than I'm in. So this is gonna be some long days for me. Depending on how I feel, I really don't want to skip Johnny, but we'll just see how it goes. I might start later and skip Johnny and just do this trial. I don't know yet, though. We'll just see how it goes. So it started at 10:30, and I thought they'd start late because all trials seem to do. But no, they started right on time. In fact, they might have started a little bit early because it looks like they're right in the jury's not in there yet. As of 10:30 when they started, the judge is talking to the lawyers. So, of course, we're not going to miss anything. I make sure we don't miss anything. I like to start a little late so I can skip sidebars and breaks and etc., etc.
Fenced, gated area that is being patrolled by law enforcement. It is simply not the same as a sidewalk or a driveway that's uncontrolled. Consistent with the rule set out in Dorfman and the interest therein, the request
I like the judge's voice.
by the Salt Lake Tribune for unfettered access at all days and all times to the parking lot during the trial is respectfully denied. Now, you have a fair point that at 9 p.m. or 5 a.m., those interests don't apply because nobody will be. And so I will amend the order to specify that the paragraph 35 restrictions apply from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And during that period of 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., the Salt Lake Tribune and other media outlets have the same rights they currently have right now to coordinate with Chris Palmer, the security director, and Tanya Mashburn, the director of communications, to get whatever background you want to get for your shots. Or if you want to get some B-roll or, depict the fact that people were lining up at 5 a.m.
Utah.
Those are the kind of things you can just ask for. But to have a blanket rule that anybody with a camera can take pictures of whatever they want, given the other restrictions on the parking area, I am not persuaded.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that. If I may, part of the media's concern, I think, is always precedent setting. The idea that something that shows up in a court's order in one particular case at one particular courthouse may find its way of becoming normalized. I think to the extent that the court has on the record already and could in its order clarify the specific special circumstances here that would justify closing a parking lot, saying this is no longer public space. And that's why that applies in this case. I think that would help alleviate some of the concerns about no filming outside the courthouse becoming a standard within the state of Utah, given the fact that in most circumstances, even if it's not true here, the sidewalks outside a courthouse, the parking lot outside a courthouse are public space that the media would generally expect to be able to inhabit unless there is some sort of special circumstance that would merit closing a parking lot and a set of sidewalks that would otherwise be public space. I think that would help as well if that's something that the court could include in that order to ensure that whatever restrictions the media operates under here
writing a damn
for these
kid
special
book.
circumstances don't become the norm in other cases as well. Thank you, Your Honor.
Take care. All right, we're off the records.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess they didn't start right at 10:30.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
And then as far as Amy goes, if they're going to call her later, we may need to exclude her from the first set of witnesses that are the day of the death, because that's what she has knowledge about.
Is that today?
I think so. So, well, I'll talk.
No, not really, Marty. The lady that allegedly poisoned her husband wrote a children's book about grief for her son specifically, but it hit the bestseller list, and then she got a lot of money from it and went on a book tour, and so she got a little popularity because of the book.
Mr. Bloodworth about exactly when they're going to call her, but she may need to be excluded because depending on what they put on. I think today she may need to be excluded for sure because they're going to be dealing with the day of the first responders when she was present. She'll be testifying about that.
All right. Why don't we agree that we'll take a short break after openings just to get some certainty as to who's staying in the courtroom when the state begins to call witnesses?
Perfect.
Is that agreeable?
Yes, sir.
It is, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, the second housekeeping matter deals with exhibits. The state is primarily handling exhibits and publishing exhibits electronically. I appreciate that the court will also want paper copies of those exhibits.
Well, YouTube won't let me type it.
Is that true, Brittany? Do we need that for the appellate record, or can they provide just
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
numbered set of electronic records for the appellate record? Oh, for deliberation. Okay, understood.
Yes, Your Honor. And so what I propose is rather than add up the paper exhibits as we go, perhaps at a lunch break or the end of the day, we can then add up on the exhibits.
No problem.
Your Honor, the final housekeeping issue relates to slide presentations for openings. The parties exchanged presentations yesterday. I think we each have a very small number of objections to the others.
Okay.
Your Honor, to begin with the states, there are, I believe it is 2 photographs. Can you bring up those and we'll bring up ours?
Katie, pull up slide number 5.
So I can see 3 photographs. Do you want to see them at the same time?
Your Honor, if you just publish them to counsel.
I knew that was
No problem.
me.
One moment.
I was like, that's what
Go
I
ahead.
just said.
Your Honor, the state is objecting to the 2 photographs at the bottom of Defense Exhibit 338, looks like. Under 401 and beyond that, 403.
Put a little more meat on that bone for me. These seem to be consistent with other evidence and defense narrative about things related to Eric Richins being an avid hunter and going on hunting trips, including international. What's the 403 problem?
Your Honor, I don't know that exotic animal heads add any non-prejudicial value to the case.
What does that have to do with
What's the
anything?
prejudicial part?
There may be jurors that, react strongly to exotic animal hunting, different, for example, than a deer or an elk.
Okay. All right. Ms. Nestor, Ms. Lewis.
Your Honor, on the day that Eric passed, he was having conversations on the phone with his hunting folks about an exotic animal hunting trip that he had just completed in Mexico, which is going to be relevant to this case, the fact that he had just been in Mexico. I don't know how the prejudice plays because Ms. Richins also lived in this house. So if they're going to hold it against Eric, they're going to hold it against her.
Pause
so,
there.
Yeah.
First, these photographs, to the extent we're worried about them being wholly irrelevant, they have minimal probative value in as much as they are consistent with other evidence in the case regarding Eric Richins being an avid hunter and traveling to hunt and things that may or may not have happened while he was on hunts in and out of the state. And there's no unfair prejudice here. Candidly, this is Summit County. Every juror in this county knows that people hunt and sometimes have taxidermy trophies from their hunts in their homes. This is fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What else do you have?
Your Honor, that is the state's objection. The state will now bring up I think the slide that defense is objecting to.
See,
there may be two.
Scott, you need table 2, right?
That's correct, Your
I
Honor.
mean,
Okay, one more.
seriously. Are they not going to convict her because her husband hunted exotic animals? That's
I know
stupid.
while he's looking, did you have a copy of the preliminary instructions? You just given the same ones. Did you make any changes to the preliminary instructions you're going to read the jury this morning?
I emphasize in the note-taking instruction that we do not have transcripts of the testimonies, that they will need to rely on their memories.
And all the rest are the same? Thank you, Your Honor.
I had a please here and there, if you care, but
It's the one before that also, but we can start with this one.
Yeah, start with this one.
All right.
The other one, the gifts.
go ahead, Ms. Lewis.
Your Honor, we object to this slide and actually the next one they're going to pull up, primarily because these are not exhibits that have been pre-admitted. He's putting into the opening statement things that we don't know yet if they're going to come into evidence and how they're going to come into evidence. That's our objection on this one.
I guess it's the state's risk to run. Preview for me, which witnesses are you going to get these in through?
Your Honor, this one, and we can shut this one down and bring up the next one.
This one we'd also object under 403. It's the same objection that we don't know who this is coming in, if this is going to come in. And my guess is they're going to attribute this to somehow that Ms. Richins a greedy person. I think this is extremely prejudicial.
I think these, forgive me, Mr. Bloodworth, these are memes that your information technology expert would say were sent from Ms. Richins' device to other people shortly after Ms. Richins' death.
Your Honor, not the sent part. So
Okay.
for both the first exhibit and this second exhibit, the Chris Cotodemos is the witness that will, the state will move to admit these through. He will essentially testify that when conducting a forensic examination of the defendant's phone, he found that first document in a document folder in her phone, and he found the thumbnails and pathways to these 3 gifts in an image file in her phone. And that image file shows a date and a time that they were accessed, but it doesn't provide information as to whether they were sent or not.
So we're entering memes
What's
as
the date
evidence
they were
now?
accessed?
They were accessed at 8:30 a.m. on March the 4th, 2022.
And just complete the sentence for me. What had happened on March 3rd?
Well, Your Honor, Eric Richins was pronounced dead at 3:58 a.m. on March the 4th. And the very last of medical examiner personnel, sheriff's deputies, crime scene techs exited the house at 8:30 a.m.
And Mr. Costradimos will testify that the pathways, internet pathways to these three gifts were accessed on March 4 at
8:30 a.m.
So there's how it's coming in. Ms. Lewis, forgive me, you were making a 403 argument.
Yes,
Go ahead.
well. Your Honor, we just renew our objection under 403. I think they speak for themselves in terms of the prejudice. We also don't know who had the phone at that time. We don't know where these were downloaded from, if they were sent to Ms. Richins. We don't know if she put these on her phone. We really don't, we know very little about these photos or these gifts. So we just renew our objection under that.
Okay. Internet content that was accessed from defendant's phone on the morning of March 4, 2022 has probative value because it's circumstantial evidence of what the person with that phone was thinking. And there is a link between that phone or that device and defendant. These gifts that are linked back to that device and that day and time by internet pathways that will come in through the state's experts are not
Hey, Nicole.
the probative value of them in showing being circumstantial evidence of defendant's state of mind is not substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. Anything further, Ms. Lewis?
Not on that. And
Okay.
Brad, could you just briefly pull up the last one? We just want to renew our objection to the final slide.
I'm sorry, which side? The
The front.
Vacation Express?
No, the vote. I
Oh,
told you we're
sorry.
just going to
Gotcha.
renew our objection. Your Honor, this last slide is a
You know,
vote.
I didn't say anything about the Vacation Express one. Do you want me to talk about that?
Oh, yes.
I didn't
thought you had-
understand what your position on the Vacation
Oh,
Express one
our
was.
position was that this just, we don't know how this is coming into evidence and it's not been pre-admitted. And
Okay.
it's prejudicial if it doesn't ever come in.
Mr. Bloodworth, I understood the Vacation Express electronic document, which was saved on a device that's connected to defendant, will be coming in through Mr. Cotradimos, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Proffer for me, when can you call it back up? I can't remember the date on it.
Sure. Your Honor, it was a booking on December the 7th, 2021 for a trip for the defendant and Mr. Grossman to the Caribbean. The trip was supposed to take place in April of 2022.
Okay. This information, the state has a sitting here today without Mr. Cotradimos on the stand, has proffered a legally valid route to admit it. And it has probative value regarding what defendants' plans were at various points in time. Its probative value is not substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice.
And I'm assuming that the state will not be saying that they actually went on this trip in opening.
Which was saved on a device that's connected to defendant, will be coming in through Mr. Cotradimos, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Proffer for me, when can you call it back up? I can't remember the date on it.
Sure. Your Honor, it was a booking on December the 7th, 2021 for a trip for the defendant and Mr. Grossman to the Caribbean. The trip was supposed to take place in April of 2022.
Okay. This information, the state has a sitting here today without Mr. Cotradimos on the stand, has proffered a legally valid route to admit it. And it has probative value.
What the heck is a
regarding what
spotted
defendants' plans
lantern
were,
fly?
at various points in time. Its probative value is not substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice.
I don't know.
And I'm
That's
assuming
scary, dude.
that the state will not be saying that they actually went
I
on
know
this
it's a
trip
bug.
in opening. Well, 'cause they
I don't
didn't.
know. Did they actually go?
No, they never did.
Okay, so I don't imagine the state will be making that representation.
And then the final slide, we just want to renew our objection. Your Honor's already ruled on that, but for the record, we want to renew our objection to the book. And also our objection that if this is coming in, we'd ask that the entire interview be played. So we want to renew our objections on those grounds.
No new argument, though.
No.
Right? Okay. I appreciate that you've renewed it. The court stands on its prior denial of those objections for the reasons previously indicated. Mr. Bloodworth.
Okay, this is all Judy's fault. Beware the spotted lanternfly. That's a spotted lanternfly. When it comes to spooky forest invaders, few creatures give landowners more chills than the spotted lanternfly. What does it do? Feed by tapping into the sap that flows beneath the tree's bark. Oh, it promotes mold growth and attracts other pests. Well, quarantine. How is quarantine? What kind of quarantine? What the heck does that mean? Does it hurt people? What? It hurts trees. It hurts trees. What kind of quarantine? That's weird. Okay.
From the state's perspective, any additional housekeeping?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Nestor, Ms. Lewis?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Real nuts and bolts stuff. Is that portable mic turned on, Mr. Bloodworth?
It is.
Would you tap it for me? Very good. Ms. Nestor, same for you.
I turned it off, but let
Okay.
me test it. Can you hear? Can you hear?
Very good.
Yep, I'm turning it back off though.
Okay. Brittany, you got your oath ready? All right. Do we have all 12 jurors, Tracy? Mr. Bloodworth, are we ready for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Nestor?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Fair notice for all spectators. Every single time the jury comes in or leaves, we all stand. We're ready for the jury.
Oh, he's wringing his hands. I thought he was doing something to her hair. I was like, why is that guy doing her hair in court? Oh my God. I need sleep. Are they coming in?
Thank you for your patience. I assure you that we were working while you were waiting. That will happen from time to time. I appreciate your patience. Members of the jury, you have been selected and sworn as the jury in this case. I'll now give you some instructions explaining how the trial will unfold. I'll give you a larger set of instructions at the end of the trial explaining the law. You are required to consider and follow all of the court's instructions. The defendant is accused of committing one or more crimes. You'll decide if the defendant is guilty or not guilty. Please keep an open mind throughout the trial. At the end of the trial, you will discuss the evidence and reach a verdict. You took an oath to well and truly try the issues pending between the parties and to render a true and just verdict. The oath is your promise to do your duty as a member of the jury. Please be alert, please pay attention, and please follow the court's instructions. The prosecution has filed a document called an information that contains the charges against the defendant. The information is not evidence of anything. It is only a method of accusing a defendant of a crime. I'll now read the information. Count 1, criminal homicide, aggravated murder. Between on or about March 3, 2022 and March 4, 2022 in Summit County, state of Utah, the defendant did intentionally or knowingly cause the death of another individual under any of the following circumstances. If based on their objections are made, they'll be brought to the court's attention
At 3:21,
Whoop,
or listen to
whoop.
and result in a missummary of each witness's testimony.
it is the evening of March the 3rd, 2022. The defendant, Kouri Richins, her husband, Eric Richins, and their 3 children, 9-year-old Carter, 7-year-old Ashton, and 5-year-old Weston, are at their home in Camas. Eric Richins lived for his 3 boys. At 7:22 p.m., Kouri Richins' boyfriend, Robert Josh Grossman, texts Kouri Richins an image of 2 people romantically kissing. The image is captioned, "Love you." At 8:36, Kouri Richins replies, "Love you." The boys go to bed. Kouri Richins makes Eric a drink and takes it to him in their bedroom. He drinks on the bed. She departs the bedroom. Kouri Richins returns to the bedroom at about 3:00 a.m. She feels that Eric is cold. She nudges him. He does not respond. She sees that he is stiff and pale. His mouth is wide open. At 3:06 a.m., Kouri Richins unlocks her cell phone. She travels 243 feet beginning at 3:08 a.m. She unlocks her cell phone again at 3:10, 3:15, and twice at 3:19. At 3:21, Kouri Richins unlocks her cell phone and calls 911. Paramedics respond, but they are unable to revive Eric. He has no pulse, he is cold. They pronounce him dead at 3:58 a.m. on March the 4th, but they think he has been dead a while. My name again is Brad Bloodworth. I am one of Summit County's criminal prosecutors who, along with Lindsay Shervanack and Fred Burmester, will present to you the state of Utah's aggravated murder case against Kouri Darden Richins for causing the poisoning death of her husband and the father of her 3 children, Eric Richins. The state will also prove to you that 2 weeks before murdering Eric Richins, Kouri Richins attempted to murder him. And 2 weeks before that, by fraud and forgery, she took out an insurance policy on his life.
Objection, can we approach?
What? Bad form. Good gravy, Marie.
Weeks before attempting to murder Eric Richins, Kouri Richins took out an insurance policy by fraud and forgery on Eric's life. And 2 weeks after Eric died, she submitted a fraudulent claim on yet another insurance policy. In this opening statement, I will summarize for you some of the evidence that the state will present over the next few days, perhaps weeks, so that you have a framework to assemble and analyze all of the evidence. The evidence will prove that Kouri Richins murdered Eric for his money and to get a fresh start at life. More than anything, she wanted his money to perpetuate her facade of privilege, affluence, and success. Kouri Richins owned a house flipping business. She would purchase, rehab, and resell homes. She presented herself to friends and business associates as remarkably successful. The evidence will prove that on the day that Eric died, Kouri Richins owed over $4.5 million to over 20 different lenders. And she did not have the ability to service that debt because her bank accounts were exhausted and her credit was exhausted. She had been taking out new loans to include payday loans to service existing loans, but her new credit was drying up. In the 5 months leading to Eric Richins' death, Kouri Richins overdrafted over 200 transactions, totaling over $300,000. And on the day that Eric died, Kouri Richins was scheduled to close on an unfinished and derelict mansion in Midway, and thus take on an additional $3.2 million in debt. She did not have the financial ability to service that debt, to rehab the mansion, or to hold on to it long enough to resell it. The mansion may appear impressive from a distance, but upon close inspection, it is just a facade. On the other hand, on the day that Eric died, his estate was worth over $4 million. And the evidence will prove that Kouri Richins believed she would inherit it all. She believed that she would inherit Eric's $2 million interest in a stonemasonry business, an interest that a prenuptial agreement prevented her from getting any part of if they divorced, but permitted her to get all of if Eric died while they were married. She believed that she would inherit the $1 million or so dollar home that they lived in, but that Eric owned separate and apart from her. And she believed that she would benefit from nearly $2 million in insurance on Eric's life to include the $100,000 policy that she took out a few weeks before he died. Now for Kouri Richins' fresh start at life motive. This motive overlaps with her money motive. She needed Eric Richins' money to get her fresh start at life. The evidence will prove that Kouri Richins was chronically unhappy in her marriage. She thought that having children would make her happier, but it did not. She consulted with a divorce attorney in the months leading up to Eric's death. 3 months before Eric's death, Kouri Richins booked a $4,000, 5-night, all-inclusive vacation for her and her boyfriend, Robert Josh Grossman, at the Secrets St. Martin's Resort and Spa in the Caribbean. They were to check in the month after Eric died. Three weeks before Eric's death, 15 days before Eric's death, 1 day before the charge attempted murder, Kouri Richins text messaged Josh Grossman, "If I was divorced right now and asked you to marry me tomorrow, you would? I just want to lay on the couch and cuddle you. Watch a murder documentary and snuggle." Five days after the charged attempted murder and 11 days before the charged murder, Kouri Richins text messaged Josh Grossman, "Babe, I miss you. I want you today, every day. Not just sexually, but physically, mentally, every day when I wake up. I do want a future together. I do want you. Figure life out together. If he could just go away.
It's called divorce, stupid.
And you could just be here. Life would be so perfect. I love you. I don't know what my deal is today. I'm sorry." 9 days after the charged attempted murder, 1 week before the charged murder, Kouri Richins text messaged her boyfriend, "I have a crazy dream. You quit your job. I divorce and come up with millions and millions. We buy Midway and live in the guest house and rent out the huge house as a big event center. $15,000 a day like they charge down the road, maybe $12,000 to stay competitive. And we will just run the event center as our daily job and hang out every day, raise some kids, have a little farm. Deal?" Just over 2 weeks after Eric Richins' death, Kouri Richins text messaged her boyfriend a link to the Secret St. Martin's Resort and Spa in the Caribbean and asked, "Are we there yet?" One month and 5 days after Eric Richins' death, Kouri Richins texted, "I think I want you to be my husband one day." Now for the attempted murder charge. Carmen Lauber was a house cleaner who worked for Kouri Richins' aunt's house cleaning company. She cleaned Kouri Richins' house. She knew Kouri Richins for nearly 9 years. Kouri Richins knew that Carmen Lauber had a criminal history involving drugs. The evidence will prove that on February the 11th, 2022, 3 days before the charged attempted murder. Carmen Lauber, at Kouri Richins' request, purchased illicit pills from a street drug dealer who was a friend of a friend. And she gave those pills to Kouri Richins. That street dealer's name is Robert Crozier, and he sold Carmen Lauber the pills at a draper in Maverick. 3 days later, on Valentine's Day, Kouri Richins purchased a sandwich from the Mirror Lake Diner and left it for Eric Richins. She then departed Camas and met up with Josh Grossman an hour away.
She tried to kill him on
At
Valentine's Day.
11:33 that morning, Eric texted Kouri Richins, I'm gonna lay down for a bit. If I don't start getting better, I'm gonna head to the hospital soon. Shortly thereafter, all activity on Eric's cell phone ceased for nearly 90 minutes in the middle of a busy workday. Once activity resumed, Eric Richins called his two best friends. They sounded to him scared, somber, confused, bewildered. A few days after that, Kouri Richins asked Carmen Lauber if she could get something stronger. The evidence will prove that on February the 26th, 5 or 6 days before Eric's death, Carmen Lauber, again at Kouri Richins' request, purchased pills from the same street dealer at the same Maverick in Draper. And she left those pills at a home that Kouri Richins was just finishing up a rehab on. The evidence will prove that those illicit pills contained fentanyl. The autopsy and toxicology report shows that Eric Richins died of fentanyl poisoning. He had several times a lethal amount of fentanyl in his blood and more in his stomach. And that extraordinary amount of fentanyl was intentional, not accidental. The evidence will prove that time and again, Kouri Richins tried to cover up her attempted murder and ultimate murder of Eric Richins. When confronted with Eric's reaction on Valentine's Day, Kouri Richins text messaged her friend. It was Valentine's Day and Eric and I were both working from home that day and I ordered lunch from Mirror Lake. He never broke out in hives or used an EpiPen. I was fucking with him. Bailey was there too. He said the sandwich hurt his stomach, so he was going to nap. No hives, no EpiPen. Kouri Richins was an hour away from Eric Richins with her boyfriend. Regarding the morning of Eric Richins' death, Kouri Richins wrote in a notebook that she entered their room at 3:20 a.m. She saw that when she nudged Eric, nothing happened. She grabbed her phone and called 911. She first grabbed her phone at least 3:06 a.m. and delayed calling 911 at least 15 minutes. The evidence will also prove that Kouri Richins had a guilty conscience. The morning that Eric died, his family came over. Kouri Richins could not face her children or Eric's dad, Eric Richins. She didn't speak to him. A few days after Eric's death, Kouri Richins and her boyfriend, Josh, they drove into the Uintas and talked about Eric's death for the first time. Kouri Richins asked Josh, while serving in Iraq, did you ever kill anyone? When he responded, she asked, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, fentanyl should not be used outside of a hospital.
Along
And
the lines of
very
both
closely monitored.
cover up and guilty conscience, Kouri Richins'
It's a surgical drug.
text messages and other data from Kouri Richins' phone for the 2 months leading up to Eric Richins' death and a week or two after have all been deleted. Police seized that phone. She got a new phone. And on that new phone, there were the following internet searches. Can cops uncover deleted messages iPhone? Can you delete everything off an old iPhone without actually having it? Can deleted text messages be retrieved from an iPhone? How to completely wipe an iPhone clear remotely? How to permanently delete information from an iPhone remotely? On April the 13th, 2022, about 5 weeks after Eric Richins' death, detectives informed Kouri Richins that the autopsy and toxicology results show that Eric died of fentanyl poison. Thereafter, searches on her phone include if someone is poisoned, what does it go down on the death certificate as? Can cops force you to do a lie detector test? Women, Utah prison, luxury prisons for the rich in America.
What? Oh my God. Why would you even? Oh my God. She's insane.
Almost a year after Eric Richins' death, when Kouri Richins knew the police were investigating her for his death, Kouri Richins published a children's book on how to deal with the loss of a parent. And she promoted that children's book on local television and local radio.
Did you go on Good Morning America or something like that too?
The state will present to you this evidence and more through a series of fact witnesses, expert witnesses, documents, and Kouri Richins' own words. As you evaluate the evidence and you consider it and you weigh it, let me offer 4 recommendations. The first is the evidence will prove that Kouri Richins murdered Eric Richins, but also consider the evidence that proves that Eric Richins did not kill himself or die accidentally. The evidence will prove that Kouri Richins had the means, motive, and opportunity to murder Eric Richins. But please consider the evidence that proves no one else did. Consider the evidence leading up to Eric Richins' death that proves that Kouri Richins murdered him, but also consider the evidence after Eric's death that also proves it. As you evaluate Kouri Richins' conduct, consider the evidence that proves that she richly values and trades on her perceived appearance, affluence, privilege, and success. Let me please highlight 2 of the judge's instructions that he just provided. The first is stay focused on the evidence. What the attorneys say, how they say it, their voice inflection, none of that is evidence. Please stay focused on the evidence. Please take notes. As he said, you will probably only hear from a witness one time, and that is when the witness testifies. At the end of the trial, I'll stand back up here. And in closing argument, we will analyze the evidence. We will apply it to the elements that the judge instructed you on. And the state of Utah will ask you to find Kouri Darden Richins guilty of the aggravated murder of Eric Richins, the attempted aggravated murder of Eric Richins, 2 counts of insurance fraud, and forgery. Back for a moment to the morning of March the 4th, 2022. It is 8:30. Medical examiners place Eric's body in a body bag onto a stretcher, and they wheel him out of his home for the last time. His boys are upstairs with their uncle. Kouri Richins has not yet told them that Eric is dead, and she won't for a few more hours. The last of the sheriff's deputies leave, crime scene techs, medical examiners. And on Kouri Richins' phone, the following 3 images are accessed.
Oh. Now I understand the memes. Yeah, that looks bad for you, Kouri.
Is your mic on business?
Yes,
You tap it for me.
we need Katie to be connected.
She is.
Okay.
It's a black screen at the moment. Is that intentional? Katie, you ready to go?
That was the way
My
you
apologies,
ended
Gwen.
it? That was a weird
My
way
error.
to end it.
911, what's the address of the emergency? My husband's not breathing. He's cold. Okay, what's the address? 282 Willow Court. 282 Willow Court? Uh-huh. Okay, what's the good phone number in case we get disconnected? 435 671 1987. Okay, it's gonna be in Francis. Okay, tell me exactly what happened. I don't know. I just came in. I was sleeping with my kids. Okay, I can't understand you. I need you to take a deep breath. What's going on? I don't know. I was sleeping in with my kids. I just came in our bed, and I turned over, and he's just cold. He's just cold. Who's cold? My husband. I turned the light off. And he's not breathing? He's not breathing? I need you to confirm it for me. Is he not breathing? No. Okay, can you do CPR? No, I don't know how. You don't know? I'm going to tell you how to. Are you willing to do CPR? Yeah. Okay.
Those
Well,
are the
that was
sounds
convincing.
of a wife becoming a widow. 6.5 hours before that terrible phone call, Eric and Kouri Richins were in that same bedroom, and they were celebrating. They were celebrating because Kouri was about to close on the biggest real estate deal that her company had ever done. She was about to close on something called the Midway Mansion. Slide 2, please. A sprawling multi-million-dollar home in Midway that had been abandoned before construction was completed. And the plan was to fix it up just enough to resell it. In other words, repair the windows, make it look nice. There had been vandalism inside, clean it all out, get it ready to flip and sell. And the concept is to sell it for millions more than the bargain basement price they got, because it was just a dilapidated, falling apart, abandoned property. And the plan was to flip it for so much that she was going to make millions of dollars of profit, at least $2 million for her and for all of her investors. And Eric was a part of this. Eric had been out at the property that very day, the day that he died, spreading gravel to make it look nice for open houses. And so that it'd be ready as soon as they closed. These two had other things to celebrate on March 3rd, besides this big deal that was going to make them a lot of money. One of the things they had to celebrate was that Eric's business was doing great. Can we have slide 3? Eric worked as a stonemason, and you're going to see, this is 2020. This isn't even the year before he died. So his income kept going up and up. But he declared to the IRS that he made over $750,000 that year. That was just in 1 year of what Eric was bringing into their marriage and their family. They also lived in a beautiful home. Slide 4. It was a beautiful home. They got married in that home. That home was half Kouri's. That's how it works in marriage. You get half of a home as soon as you live in it. They also had a 2-story garage that you can kind of see in that picture a little bit back from the house. And it was filled, slide 5. It was filled with exotic animals. Eric was a huge hunter. He went on trips all over the world. They had the kind of money that they were blessed with. He could travel to Africa and travel to Mexico, which he did 2 weeks before he died. He was in Mexico hunting an exotic sheep, actually. They had four-wheelers. They had lots of vehicles. They had snowmobiles and ATVs and ski equipment. They were very blessed. They had a lot to celebrate. They also had a wonderful family. Slide 6. The one thing that I don't think anybody in this courtroom is ever going to challenge, us included, is that Eric and Kouri adored their boys. They were their world. They were in that place that those of us who've had kids have all been in, where you spend your days driving them around to soccer and all their activities, and they're just the center of your world. And that's how both of these parents felt about their kids. They loved them a lot. And what's more important is that the boys adored their father, adored him. And Kouri knew that about her sons and about her family. Their marriage had survived through some rough times, and you're going to hear about that. Like any marriage, it wasn't a perfect marriage. They'd gone through a really bad year where they both contemplated divorce, and they did what a lot of couples do. They went to marriage counseling, they worked it out, and they decided to stick it out, and they did. You're going to hear testimony from one of Eric's closest friends that in the few weeks before Eric died, he and Kouri were the happiest together that he'd ever seen them. And you're going to hear that from one of Eric's closest friends. Now, on March 3rd, Eric started sending excited texts before their celebration to Kouri, saying, hey, let's get together. Let's have some celebratory shots. Slide 7, please. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys aren't going to be able to read that. It's really small. But it basically says, thank you. You want to grab lunch today with a celebratory shot? That was Kouri saying she can't, that she has other plans. But he's excited. He wants to celebrate about the big closing. When Eric got home the evening of March 3rd, after he'd been out at the property spreading the gravel, he got home and they all had dinner together as a family. Kouri's mom dropped by. They visited with her mom. Her mom had actually been out at the property the same day with a carpenter trying to get some bids and get it ready to start getting it fixed up. Kouri's mom left. They tucked their boys into bed. And around 9 o'clock, they decided to have their celebratory shot. A friend had given them a gift of some of those, I'm sure you guys have seen them, those copper Moscow Mule cups that you make like in breweries and in bars. And they decided to try out their new cups. So Kouri made what's called a Moscow Mule. And they also had a little shot, which is Eric's idea, of a little lemon drop. They had their drinks. They actually didn't finish them and set the cups in the sink at the house right there. Around 9:30, they were getting ready to go to bed, and they heard one of the children who suffered from something called night terrors, where they scream out, they have nightmares. One of the children was crying out. So Kouri went to sleep with her son around 9:30 that night. You're going to hear the police. Kouri also told the police the day that they came to the house that she believed Eric might have had what we call a marijuana gummy. You're going to hear Eric loved marijuana gummies. He used them a lot. And the police found a whole bunch of them in the house, in his things, in his clothes, in his closet. You know, he was a marijuana gummy user. Slide 8. These are all gummies that the police found in Eric's things. Some of them you can tell had commercial bags where he bought them from dispensaries. Some were in
Well, the
clear
chocolate's
bags,
not a gummy, it's chocolate.
that he bought from somewhere else, the location unknown. So you take it down. So as they're getting ready to go to bed, you're going to hear that after Kouri left the room, Eric was on his phone and he was talking to a friend named Scott Wagner. And you're going to hear that Scott Wagner talked to him at 10 o'clock at night. That when Scott Wagner talked to him, he did not sound drunk. He did not sound high. He did not sound like he was on fentanyl or anything else. That there was no sound of the wife or children in the background. That he was alert, that he was having a totally normal conversation with Scott. And this was at 10 p.m. Shortly after 10 p.m., you're going to hear, forgot to mention, when Kouri left the bedroom, she has always maintained from beginning to end that she left her phone in the room, in the charger next to her bed, which we all do at night when we're about to go to bed, we charge our phones. Nothing unusual there. After 10 o'clock, around 10:30, so this is an hour after Kouri's left the bedroom and is in with her son, Kouri's phone is unlocked and moves just a few feet. Now you're going to hear Kouri's friends in this trial and some other people testify that Eric was always checking Kouri's phone. And you can kind of see why he probably was doing that based on what you've already heard from the state. Maybe he had good reasons, but he checked her phone a lot. So we know he did that at about 10:30 because we have proof that the phone opened and closed, moved a short distance, like maybe walking around the bedroom, and then closed again. And that is the last thing we know for sure that Eric did the night that he died. Sometime after that, we don't know exactly when Eric died. Slide 9. When Eric died, his Apple Watch was hanging on a charger, nice and neat. His phone was in a charger on the nightstand. He was lying in his underwear, like when you go to bed. And he was on his back on his side of the bed. So it appears pretty clear that Eric went to bed and fell asleep and died in his sleep. You're also going to hear, slide 10, that there was an empty pill bottle right next to him in his nightstand. And I want you to pay careful attention to this. The empty pill bottle expired in 2016. Made out to him for pain pills. That's going to become important later. Sometime after 3 a.m., Kouri wakes up and comes back into a dark bedroom. You're going to hear she unlocked her phone. Probably, we're not going to dispute the times that the state just mentioned. The phone gets unlocked shortly after 3 a.m., which is what time Kouri says from day one that she got up. She always tells the police, I got up at 3. The phone verifies that. The phone moved around the house a little bit. You're going to hear the distances in the house. There's going to be investigators that are going to tell you how many feet from the master bedroom to the bathroom to the kitchen. They're going to tell you about how many feet are in that house if you're walking around the house. It appears clear she walked around the house just a little bit for a few minutes. And then the phone stops being active, which is indicative of being back in the charger, indicative of not moving anymore. And a few minutes later, you hear the 911 call that you guys just heard. So that gives her enough time to crawl into the bed, touch her husband, and realize he's cold.
Didn't she say her phone never left the room?
And she picks her phone up, calls 911. You're going to see that the phone records prove all of this. At that time, I believe everyone's going to agree, and I think the state even admitted it in their opening. That's pretty clear he'd been dead for several hours. And you're going to actually see a photo when we pass. Our blood pools in the position that we lay in. It's not circulating anymore because our heart's not working. And you're going to see a picture of his back. And you're going to see that the blood he had been dead long enough for the blood to pool on his back because he was laying on his back. So that usually indicates he'd been dead for several hours, and the medical examiner is going to tell you that. So those 6 hours, ladies and gentlemen, between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m., somewhere in that time, Eric Richins died. Somewhere in that time, he ingested a fatal dose of fentanyl. What you will never hear after 4 years of investigation, where as recently as 2 weeks ago, they were back searching that house. After 4 years of investigation and 5 weeks of this trial, you know what you're never going to hear is how that fentanyl got inside of him, because there is zero evidence of that. To this day, slide 11, please. You're going to see that his death certificate, oh, that's the wrong thing, Katie. Just take it down. Sorry about that. That's the wrong thing. His death certificate reads that the manner of his death is still unknown to this day. You're going to hear testimony that a medical examiner has the ability to declare the manner of someone's death. It can be homicide, it can be suicide, it can be accidental overdose, it can be murder, it can be anything. To this day, the medical examiner, the professional that's the head of declaring how people die in the state of Utah, has never been able to determine the manner of Eric Richins' death. Now, you're going to hear first responders and law enforcement tell you that no fentanyl was found in the bedroom the night of his death. But you're also going to hear them that they didn't search for it. You know, we've all seen the TV shows, the crime shows. What do you do if there's a murder, right? If you think there's a murder, tape it off. No one gets in or out. It becomes a crime scene. You search everything. You search the closet. You search the bathroom. You search the vehicles. You search the house. You search the office. They didn't do that. All kinds of friends and family, and you're going to see video of all the people that were in the house that day. There was no restrictions on anybody. And guess what was sitting in the sink? The cups. They were sitting there. They were never taken. They were never tested. Nothing. The nanny ended up putting them in the dishwasher the next morning, and they still had fluid in them. You're going to hear the day after Eric died. Not day after, day of. They started interviewing Kouri over and over and over again about what happened that night. You're going to hear for yourselves that her explanation of what happened that night has never changed from that call you just listened to. As far as the timing, as far as what happened, never. Law enforcement secretly recorded her phone conversations for over a year after this incident. 2 years later, listening in to her conversations with her family to see if her story about what happened that night ever altered, ever changed. You're going to hear it never changed. You're going to hear that before Eric's body was even taken out of their bedroom, Kouri was told the body was going to a morgue for an autopsy. So within an hour of the cops getting there, she knew there was going to be an autopsy of his body. And what happens when you have an autopsy? You figure out how someone died. That's what doctors do. They test your blood, they test your bodily tissues. So she knew that. But did she tell the police or the medical responders or the EMS, hey guys, you might want to check for fentanyl? My husband used it all the time.
Hey, Mike dropping mom.
Did she do that? Because with one sentence, she could have taken all suspicion off her and made this about a drug overdose. But she didn't. As a matter of fact, she could have staged a whole drug overdose scene with fentanyl pills on his stomach and everything all over the place and say, gosh, you know, I tried to get him in rehab for years and I couldn't. But she didn't. And you know why? Because she told her truth. She told her truth over and over again. And it's exactly what she told that 911 operator that you just heard and you're going to hear over and over at trial. I don't know what happened. Now you're going to hear that Eric Richins' family simply could not accept that. They needed someone or something to blame for losing someone they loved that wasn't Eric himself. And that's totally understandable. No family ever wants to believe that behind closed doors, someone they love is using drugs. No one wants to believe that. But the family's need to make sense of Eric's death.
She might have gotten away with it if she'd done that.
Beyond what you would expect a normal grieving family to go through. You will hear that as the detective arrived at the house, Eric's sisters spoke with the detective in the driveway. This is before anyone in the house knows how Eric died. If he had a heart attack, if he had an aneurysm, a lot of people were talking about aneurysms at the scene, and you're going to hear that. Nobody knew yet how he died. The sisters were telling the police, Kouri probably did this. Kouri probably did this. Day one. His sister Katie tells the police, and you're going to hear her testify about this, that Kouri had recently found out that Eric had put all their assets in a trust and that Katie was in charge of the trust. She's going to say, I'm in charge. And that Kouri didn't like that. She told that to the police at the scene. So Kouri already knew before Eric ever died that his assets were protected in a trust and didn't automatically come to her if he died, that there were legal things you had to go through. You're going to hear that it didn't stop there. The Richins family hired a private investigator, and you're going to see how much they paid that private investigator. And it's almost $100,000. And they paid that investigator to spend every waking minute digging up as much dirt as he possibly could on Kouri Richins to try to implicate her in Eric's death. Even though the state already had all the evidence from the scene that night that would show what happened in those 6 hours, right? The investigator goes looking for skeletons in the closet. And boy, did he find some. You're going to hear that after an exhaustive private investigation into every single thing about Kouri Richins' life, he uncovered plenty of things that I'm quite sure she's not proud of. She's not a perfect person. She's a flawed person. I would submit we all are. But the prosecutor just turned some of her most intimate, personal correspondence into entertainment with bubbles and slides. And they're going to continue to assassinate her character throughout this trial, so get ready. The judge has instructed you not to prejudge this case and to wait until you hear all of the evidence before you make up your mind. So let me assure you, no marriage is what
So
it
is
appears
Court
on the
TV.
surface.
I'm looking at it right now.
What happens when we close our bedroom doors, very
It
private.
was a minute
It
ago.
is not always known by family or friends. And I think you're going to learn a lot about Kouri and Eric's relationship in this trial. And I would ask you to wait before you go rush to judgment like they have about her sexual morality, her personal decisions, about her marriage, and about her family. The prosecution is going to spend days and weeks telling you all about arguments Kouri's had with her husband in years past. Problems in their marriage, yeah, they had them. Disagreements, infidelities, ups and downs in their marriage, all true. They're also going to tell you all about Kouri's business. They tore it apart. They examined every bank account, every real estate deal she ever did, her taxes, when she made money, when she lost money, if she paid her taxes on time, if she bounced checks, if she borrowed too much, if she didn't borrow enough, if she borrowed wisely, if she was too risky in her business. You're going to hear all of that. None of that has anything to do with those 6 hours, but you're going to sit through it and you're going to listen to all of it. And you're going to hear testimony about her most intimate personal and business affairs going back years before Eric died. The family and the private investigator even became convinced that Kouri had tried to kill Eric before on Valentine's Day when he had an allergic reaction to a sandwich, drank some Benadryl, may or may not have taken an EpiPen shot, took a 2-hour nap, and then drove his kids to soccer. That's the evidence you're going to hear about Valentine's Day. You're going to hear that he had discussed with Kouri that he was going to drive the kids to soccer. So they're asking you to believe that she secretly put narcotics in her husband's food right before he's going to drive the 3 things that matter the most to her in the world to soccer. You're going to hear that that this incident wasn't even a blip to Eric. He had a professional allergy doctor that he saw very shortly after this incident. He never even brought this up. Never even talked about it with his doctor. You're going to hear that he laughed about it with one of Kouri's friends who visited shortly after. He thought it was funny. Interestingly, you're also going to hear that people who use oxycodone or hydrocodone, like that bottle said, also tend to have allergic reactions. They can have very similar symptoms if you use pain pills to the symptoms described of what Eric experienced on Valentine's Day. Here's what you're not going to see in this trial. You're not going to see one single bit of evidence showing what was in that sandwich, if he went to a doctor, if he did any tests run, because he didn't. No evidence at all. Now, the family's investigator regularly updated law enforcement on his investigation. He sent them everything he found. He sent them witnesses to interview. He sent them interviews he did of the witnesses first, you're going to hear this very same private investigator took Eric's computer before the police got it and had it for a long time in his possession, looking through all of Eric's computer. You're also going to hear Eric's family went and hired experts. They hired experts in toxicology, in finances, in handwriting analysis, paid them all a bunch of money. And now those same people that the family hired are going to appear here as witnesses for the state to testify against Kouri. You're going to hear that the family had constant communications with the prosecution team right up until they decided to charge Kouri a year later. Now, as you've already heard from this prosecutor, they're going to spend weeks in this trial trying to convince you that Kouri
I don't
has
know,
reasons
but it's
to
always
kill her
something I
husband,
wonder about when it's
because
Utah.
they can't show you that she did kill her husband. You're not going to hear a single one of Eric's family, Kouri's investors, Kouri's friends, her lover, her accountant, her broker, her lawyer, her marriage counselor, her accountants, her husband's friends, her husband's coworkers. Not one of those people is ever going to be able to tell you what happened in those 6 hours. Not one of them. You're going to hear me ask each one of them in this trial, do you know whether or not Eric Richins knowingly ingested fentanyl? Do you know whether he accidentally ingested fentanyl thinking he was taking another kind of pill and it had fentanyl in it and he took it and accidentally ingested it? Do you know whether he mixed fentanyl with alcohol after Kouri went to sleep? The answer every single time from every single one of these witnesses is going to be no. Now here's what you will hear. You will hear that Eric suffered from pain a lot. That he suffered from knee and back pain related to his work. He did hard work. He was a stonemason, lifting heavy stones. And he also was a huge outdoorsman. He was hiking, snowmobiling, skiing, hunting, and he had pain in his back and his knees from that kind of activity. He also had been diagnosed with Lyme disease. He believed he had it, and he claimed to people that were very close to him that he suffered with intense bouts of pain that he believed was related to Lyme disease. But this is a man's man, this guy. He's a hunter. He's a macho guy, right? He didn't want to show weakness. He didn't want people to know he was suffering. He didn't share that with a lot of people. You're going to hear that Eric was so dependent on the drugs like the gummies that gave him relief from his pain that he would even take it and smuggle it in his luggage when he went on trips out of the country and out of the continental United States when you got to go through TSA. That's how much he needed that relief. Now you're going to hear on one of the calls that they were recording when Kouri was talking to her family, she tells her family that she purchased pain pills for Eric at his request. She purchased them from a woman named Carmen that she knew who cleaned her properties for her. And she knew Carmen had access to people that had drugs. You will hear that she asked Carmen to get oxycodone. Oxycodone, which is very similar to the hydrocodone that you saw in that pill bottle right there.
Your Honor, apologize.
Huh. Yeah, that's not an ethnicity. That's a religion. And no shade towards Mormons. No shade. It just, lately, it feels like there's been a series of Mormons that have killed their spouses rather than divorce. Lori and Chad Daybell. There's been others, I just can't think of names right now, but seems that there's been a series, and this just being in Utah, I was wondering the same thing as Jill. No shade. I know there's very, very good Mormons out there. No judgment, just comment. But yeah, that is weird, because Mormon's not an ethnicity. It's a religion. I was gonna say something, but I can't because it's political. I was gonna say you can't change your ethnicity unless you're so and so. But I'm not gonna say that. What? There's no black Mormons? Or Latino Mormons? Or Native American Mormons? I don't know. I'm not Mormon. Yes, every denomination has bad people. You're right, Jill. Absolutely right. That's why I don't go to church anymore. I just stay home and study my Bible. Oh,
You're going to hear that oxycodone is a fairly low dose pain pill that you can get prescriptions for. Most prescriptions for oxycodone are around the range of about 10 milligrams per pill. That's about, if your doctor gives you oxycodone, that's about what you usually get it for. If you want stronger oxycodone, like up to 30 milligrams, you generally either have to have a special prescription from a doctor or you're going to hear that you can get it on the street, right? And the state has talked about this gentleman, Robert Crozier. Robert Crozier sold higher strength oxys, up to 30 milligrams. He's going to testify that back in 2022, before Eric died, that's all he sold was oxy. That he didn't sell fentanyl at that time. It hadn't really got into the country yet, like it is now, right, where it's everywhere. It hadn't really happened yet. He was just selling oxys, and he sold the stronger dose. So you're going to hear and you're going to see evidence that Kouri asked Carmen for something stronger, and that Carmen, you're going to hear from Mr. Crozier, purchased 30 milligram oxys from Crozier. Crozier's going to say that is what he sold Carmen Lauber, was 30 milligram oxy pills. You're also going to hear that in Eric's autopsy, there's no oxy in his system. So the pills that were purchased by Carmen Lauber could not have been the cause of Eric's death. The fentanyl had to come from somewhere else. You're going to hear Carmen testify now that Kouri asked her for fentanyl. But what you're going to hear is that that was not Carmen's original story. That when Carmen was originally interviewed, she said no mention of fentanyl. It was all about oxy. There was no fentanyl. Carmen talks like she doesn't even know what fentanyl is, right? Guess when she changes her testimony? She changes her testimony when the police say, hey, you know what? We caught you. We caught you with drugs. We caught you with guns. And if you don't say what we want you to say, you're going to jail for a really, really long time, federal and state. But we're going to give you a ticket. We're going to give you a free ticket to get out of all the trouble you're in. But you got to say Kouri said fentanyl. And she changes her story. You're going to get to evaluate her credibility and what you think of her. You're going to hear that just a few weeks before Eric died, guess where he was? Mexico. Guess where the fentanyl comes from into this country from? Mexico. Now, after you've listened to all the evidence in this case, after you've looked at all the exhibits, you're going to be asked to determine what happened in that 6 hours. Not the 3 years before, not the 2 years before, not the 1 year before. In those 6 hours, you're going to have to decide if Kouri Richins intentionally and knowingly poisoned secretly her husband, ending the life of the father of her kids, knowing that she was going to cause those little boys to feel pain every day for the rest of their life, for the loss of their father, and that she did it for money, and that she did it for money that was less than what she was about to make on one of her own deals. For way less than what Eric Richins would have earned over the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
sometimes it's not about the money.
Way less than you knew she was guaranteed to get because she knew about the existence of the trust. She knew there's no guarantee on the assets or the home right? Finally, you're going to be asked to determine whether or not the sandwich incident was an attempt to commit a murder. That's going to be an easy one for you. You're going to be asked to whether she lied to the life insurance companies. And I presume the state's going to argue that the lie was that she didn't cause his death. Because if you cause someone's death, you can't get the life insurance. So I guess that's what they're saying the fraud is. And then there's a little flyer that she got in the mail, that we've all gotten in the mail, that if you're a credit union member, about once or twice a year, you get this little thing in the mail that says, hey, we'll give you $100,000 free life insurance. Just sign here because we are so glad you're our credit union member. And so she signed that a little while before Eric died for $100,000. $100,000. That's Eric Richins made that in 2 months, right? 3 months. And they're saying she forged his name on that little flyer when she mailed it in. In order to prove that, they have to prove that Eric didn't allow her to do it. Now, I'm telling you right now, wives everywhere sign their husbands' names on a lot of things. You got to find that she did it without his knowledge. And I don't know how they're going to prove that. Now, there is one piece of good news as you evaluate this evidence and the facts in this case. There is some good news for you. There are going to be a lot of facts that we actually agree on, that we're not even going to challenge. We'll just be like, yeah, that happened. Hopefully that's going to help the case move a little faster for you guys. But interestingly, even though we're not going to dispute the facts, we sure are going to dispute what the facts mean. Sometimes you can look at the same facts and see two very different results. Let me show you what I mean. Katie, can you put up slide 12?
Is it up on your screen, Katie? 1 second, please.
The judge has to give us the pass to get into the
This
screen.
happens from time to time. Okay. Brittany. Can you do me a favor? Disconnect from table 1. Plug back in.
I think we have a judge that understands the tech.
There it is. So look at this picture of a young woman in a fur coat. See it?
Oh
Now
my
what do you
God,
think?
one of these? That's so
See a witch?
stupid.
Nose, mouth. There's going to be times in this case where the state is going to discuss facts with certain witnesses, and they're going to show you the witch. And I'm going to take those same facts and those same witnesses, and I'm going to show you a widow. At the end of the trial, if you can still see both faces, that's reasonable doubt.
Oh,
The
good
judge has
God.
instructed you that the burden of proof in this
Did we
case
watch it?
lies with this table. Katie, can you put up slide 13? Can you make it a little bigger, please? The law presumes the defendant is not guilty of the crime charge. She's innocent right now, and you have to accept that to do your job. The presumption persists unless the prosecution's evidence convinces you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty. Katie, can you put up slide 14? This burden, this is a heavy burden for the state. We know that. And our Constitution gives them that burden. Our Constitution, that same Constitution, promises Kouri Richins a fair trial by a jury of her peers, and that's you, her fellow citizens, who took an oath to swear that you will stand between Kouri and the government and make them meet their duty before they can get through you. And they've got to meet it by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. More powerful than just more likely or not that she did it. It has to be firmly convincing you. There are very few things we know with absolute certainty. The criminal case doesn't require proof that overcomes every possible doubt. But if you think there is a real possibility that she is not guilty, you must give her the benefit of the doubt and find her not guilty. And that's the burden that's on your table. When you go back into that jury room, that's going to be on y'all's table. We're asking you to be courageous, to pay attention, to stand strong, and to hold the government to that burden that's on their table. Hold them to it. And at the end of this case, you will see Kouri Richins is innocent. She is counting on you to do your job. And the only proper verdict to return in this case, which we are going to ask you to return at the end of this case, is to find her not guilty on all charges. Thank you.
Thank you for shutting up and sitting down.
All right, let's let you stretch your legs, take a restroom break. All rise for the jury.
Slam perturbed.
Have a seat. Mr. Bloodworth, anything on the record before we take a restroom break?
No, Your Honor, maybe just a reminder to those that are subject to the exclusionary rule to, I guess, not return.
Let's have some clarity about that. I
Sure.
appreciate that.
So, Your Honor, just to let the family know, so DJ and Ronnie cannot sit in for the trial. Miss Doreen can. We will let you know when you need to step out. And any other family members, Lisa can stay for the trial, and any other people can stay because there's no other witnesses we expect.
What about
And I want to
Marcy
make clear
Club?
to DJ and Ronnie, the fact that you can't be in the courtroom is the functional equivalent of an order that you cannot listen to the testimony or talk to anybody about it. So you cannot watch the live stream. You can't read reports or listen to it. You are ordered to not be exposed to the testimony in this case.
Also, Your Honor, I failed to mention Bree Darden. I don't think she's planning on coming. She has a newborn. She's not going to be up here anyway, but just in case she thought about coming, Bree cannot sit in on the trial, okay? That's it.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any clarification there, Mr. Bloodworth?
No, Your Honor, an additional issue, though. The jury oath. You referenced the jury oath. That was
They
not,
get two.
I was gonna say, I haven't, right. Did we have the second one yet?
The second one is the one you heard. The first one is the one that was given to them before they were asked any questions by the jury team.
I understand, Your Honor. Thank you. That second one just didn't sound like the normal second one, so maybe I'm a little thrown.
Check with Ms. Shervanek. Let me know if you think there's any.
I got my whole team telling me that was the wrong one.
I pulled it out of their proposed jury instructions.
No. I think he's talking about what Brittany read.
What Brittany read. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Did
I
you
thought you
use
were
the
talking
one
about the
via-
jury instructions.
I think it's the same one.
And listen to what she said.
Yeah.
Do each of you solemnly swear to truly try the issues pending between the plaintiff and the defendant and render a true and just verdict according to the evidence and the instructions of the court?
What's wrong with it? That's not what was read.
What did you read?
It sounded to me like the witness of. It was the witness of.
Oh, that's the one before there.
That is the wrong one.
That's the wrong one. That's okay. We can fix it.
We'll re-swear them.
Yeah, no problem.
Arguments aren't evidence anyway.
Good catch. No problem. That's the one they get before the word to hire. That's okay. I will fix it when they come back in. Thank you for the catch. Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Nestor, Ms. Lewis, Mr. Ramos.
No, sir.
All right,
Nothing.
folks, let's say 10:35. Thank you for your patience.
All right, for the judge.
Court's in recess.
Okay, we're caught up to the live. Yay! I like his voice. Okay, this is gonna drive me crazy. Why are you not coming out right? Come out right. Red rabbit. Having trouble with his other ear. All right, people, hurry up. You've had plenty of time to pee.
Go back on the record in 231-500-139. Ready for the jury, Mr. Bloodworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Nestor?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll swear at the
Yes.
jury, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for the jury.
That could have been a problem.
Hey, Chadwatter, what doing, baby? Hey, sweetheart, what you doing? You're not gonna get up here and watch the trial? Yep. That's Roger Rabbit.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay standing for a minute as you come in. I need to fix a mistake that I made when I initially instructed you. If you'd raise your right hand for me. Let's try this one more time. Do each of you solemnly swear to truly try the issues pending between the plaintiff and the defendant and render a true and just verdict according to the evidence and the instructions of the court? All right, thank you. Have a seat. Mr. Bloodworth, the state's first witness, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Kouri Richins.
Gene, if we can have you step up in front of Brittany.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury?
This is not right. Why is this wrong?
Thank you, sir. Please watch your step.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. May I ask you, sit wherever you're comfortable. It's easier to move the mic than it is the chair, candidly, so.
I kind of noticed that.
Okay, go ahead.
What, sir, is your name?
Eugene F. Richins.
And do you spell your last name Richins?
Yes, I do.
Did you know Eric Richins?
Yes.
How did you know him?
Eric is my son.
Scott, can I get 842 Romeo?
Just in terms of events, do you want to show it to him first and then publish?
Your Honor, I think if perhaps we could show it to everybody but the jury.
Done.
Sir, do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, I do.
Who does it depict?
This is my son.
Is it an accurate depiction of him?
It is.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit 842R.
No objection.
842R is admitted.
Can the court please publish it?
There we go.
Sir, how old was Eric when he died?
He was 39.
Do you know Kouri Richins?
I do.
How do you know her?
She was the wife of my son.
Do you see her here today?
I do.
Can you please point out where and describe her?
Right here with a black blazer on.
Did you raise Eric?
I did. And my wife also. Both of us did.
What, sir, was your wife's name?
Linda Carter Richins.
Were you actively involved with him as a child?
I was, very much so.
How so?
Well, as I was raised and as I tried to raise my children as family's number one. So we did everything together as a family. Education was extremely important for us as a family, as was a strong work ethic, as was religion. So those were kind of my top priorities of how we raised our children.
And in raising your children, especially Eric, what kind of activities did you engage in?
Eric was very, very into the outdoors, very athletic young man. He was also a very, very good student, very smart young man.
Yeah, it is
We did a
Woman.
lot of things. I have a cattle operation, a cattle ranch that he helped with constantly from the time all the kids were extremely young. In my opinion, that's what gave him the work ethic of what they have right now to be successful.
Were you also involved in his life as an adult?
I was.
How often would you see him?
See him or talk to him?
But both, actually, if you could take them in turn, please.
You bet. I'd see him at least once, twice, 3 times a week. I'd talk to him every day on the phone.
And where would you generally see him?
Ball games. One of the kids' ball games at the ranch. Basically all over the place.
What was Eric's personality?
Eric had a very, very fun-loving personality. He had a very likable personality. He loved people, and people loved him.
You mentioned that you raised him to have a strong work ethic, be grounded in family, and to do well in school. Did you see those qualities in him as an adult?
I did. I was very, very proud of him.
Did you get to interact with, or I guess observe Eric interact with his 3 boys?
I did constantly.
Can you give us some examples, please?
Eric was their coach, but their father, but most important was their very, very best friend. He coached soccer. We both coached basketball. We both coached baseball with him. So we were constantly involved in all their activities.
Did he bring the boys to your ranch?
Constantly, yes. They were, the oldest one loves to rope. So that was his thing in life and liked to rope. And the other ones loved to just ride four-wheelers or whatever it may be.
Was Eric a good father?
Eric was an excellent father.
Were you and Eric working on any future plans together when he died?
We were. We were going to buy a cabin together up in the Uintas. And then, you know, believe it or not, I'm getting older and I would like to retire someday from ranching, and trying to put it into him and his other siblings' laps.
Did there come a time in the early morning of March the 4th, 2022, when you received a phone call about Eric?
I did, yes.
Who called you?
Kouri did.
What did she tell you?
She said that Eric wasn't breathing.
Where, sir, were you when you received that call?
I was at my home,
Is that the ranch?
yes.
Is it in Hennifer?
It is.
What did you do next?
I got over there as quickly as I could.
And by over there, do you mean Eric's house?
I did, yes.
And is that in Camas, Summit County,
Yes, Francis. Mhm.
Francis? Do you recall about what time you arrived at Eric's house?
I would say that 4:15, 4:30, right through that.
Who was there when you arrived?
My daughter Katie was there. Kouri was there. The first responders were there. Corey's mother Lisa was there. My son-in-law Clint was there, and my two granddaughters were there, as the three boys were there.
About how long were you there that morning?
Oh, approximately to 10:30, I believe.
During that morning, what, if anything, did Kouri Richins say to you?
You know, I don't recall her saying much of anything to me.
Did she?
When I came in and my daughter Katie told me that Eric was gone, they helped me onto the couch, and I don't ever recall of even talking to Kouri, to be quite honest with you.
Did there come a time later when Kouri Richins told you what caused Eric's death?
There was. I can't tell you the exact date, but it was between Eric's funeral and when the medical examiner had declared what he had passed away of. And she called me and said that she had just talked to the medical examiner, and they had determined that he died of the same thing Linda did, and COVID.
And Linda was your wife, right?
Linda was my wife, yes.
What, sir, caused your wife's death?
She had an issue with fungus in her lungs.
What, if anything, struck you about Kouri Richins telling you that Eric died of the same thing that his mother did?
Well, right after I finished talking with Kouri, I called my daughter, Katie, who in turn called the medical examiner, and they had never received a call
To
from
hearsay, Your
Kouri.
Honor.
We're going to admit this answer only for the effect that it had upon Mr. Richins to explain what he did or didn't do next. You cannot consider it for the truth of what he's about to say.
See how easy that was?
Please, sir, continue.
Why can't judges
Help me
do that all
again.
the time?
Sure.
Where were we?
What, if anything, struck you about Kouri Richins telling you that Eric died of the same thing that Linda died of?
Well, as I said, I called my daughter, Katie. Katie in turn called the medical examiner, and they had never received a call from Kouri. They had not even released the results from it yet.
Renew the objection and move to strike, Your Honor.
Same instruction. That answer only explains what comes next in terms of what Gene did or didn't do. May I call you Gene? I'm so sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please.
Not for the truth of whether those things that he just described actually happened.
Sir, were you with your wife as she was battling the lung fungus?
I was.
Did Eric Richins suffer from the same symptoms that your wife did?
No, not at all.
Sir, I need to take care of some business now regarding some handwriting samples, okay?
Okay.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
It's the collection. Your Honor, I'm handing the witness Exhibit 8-49, which is a collection of handwriting exemplars. Mr. Richins, can you please turn to tab 14?
Okay.
Sir, do you recognize the documents at tab 14?
I do.
Are they labeled K14?
Yes. Mhm.
Are they receipts from Weller Recreation Center?
Yes,
Did you pick up those receipts from Weller Recreation Center?
I did.
Did you then hand those receipts to your daughter, Katie Richins Benson?
I'm sure I did. Yes.
Thank you. Can I retrieve that? Sir, I don't have any additional questions at this time, but the defense may, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Nestor, please proceed.
Sir, we're very sorry for your loss, and we have no questions for you at this time.
Thank you.
Gene, you can step down. Do you mind taking that glass of water with you?
Might need another one.
Fair enough. Mr. Blood.
Your Honor, the state calls Katie Richins Benson.
I think she's in the lobby. Is that correct? Ms. Richins Benson, hi. If you'd step in front of Brittany, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury?
feel free to move that chair wherever you're comfortable. You can also move the mic.
Okay,
There you go.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bloodworth, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
What is your name?
Katie Richins Benson.
And is your last name spelled Richins-Benson?
You got it.
Okay. I'm going to stand here because I would like you to address the jury. And I'm hoping that if I stand close to the jury, if you mistakenly shift to me, you're still addressing them. Do you know Eric Richins?
Yes, he was my brother.
Did you grow up with him?
Yes, yes. We were only 2 years apart. So we were inseparable.
What was your relationship like as you grew up together?
So we did everything together. We went to school together. We worked on a ranch. So we have a family ranch that's been passed down for generations. We worked on the ranch together. We fished. We hiked. We did everything together.
How has that relationship continued into adulthood?
So my brother and I were very close. We talked constantly. We spent holidays together. We had our families together. So our kids are very close in age. We did lots of activities with our kids together. Like I said, we had them on the ranch all the time together, talked on the phone almost daily.
What was Eric's personality like as an adult?
Eric was one of the most likable people. I'm sorry, guys. Okay.
There are tissues if you
Okay. So he was one of. Sorry, I'm trying so hard. He was one of the most likable people you've ever met. So Eric was the kind of person that loved everyone. It did not matter who you were, where you came from, where he met you. Everyone thought they were his best friend. If you talk to him, they all said, I'm Eric's best friend, because that's the way Eric made you feel. He was upbeat. He was positive. He literally would give a stranger he met on the side of the road his jacket, anything to help anyone out. That's the kind of person he was.
What did he like to do? How did he spend his time?
So the number one thing that Eric loved was his kids. So he would do anything for his boys. He was the best dad you would ever see. He was a phenomenal uncle. If there were kids involved, he was there. He would show up. So whether it be soccer games, so he coached my nephew's soccer. And he was the dad that coached, that went and got all the signs that were special. So he'd get there before the soccer games, put all the signs up so the kids had their team name everywhere. He also was adamant about making sure they learned how to work. So my parents were very focused on teaching us how to work, to have that strong work ethic. So he had his kids on the ranch, teaching them how to work. He loved the outdoors. He loved to play sports. Anything that revolved around his family, the outdoors, is what my brother loved.
Did he plan for his children's future?
Yes. So there's not a waking moment that my brother was not focused on his kids. So he had money set aside every single month to go into a fund so that by the time the kids got to college, they could pay for their college and hopefully have some left over for like a down payment on a house or something like that. He had every aspect planned. This is the kind of dad Eric was. So I told you we have a ranch. I love horses. My brother did too, but not quite as much as me. He liked ATVs a little bit better. So his oldest son, Carter, loved horses from the day he was born. He and I share that. So Eric tried to get Carter with me as much as possible on the horse because that's what Carter loved. I would ride the horse with my little nephew in front of me, and my brother would be to the side of me with an ATV with food, snacks, anything that Carter needed. He would have it right there so that Carter didn't have to get off the horse, because he wanted Carter to be able to do whatever he wanted. And if Carter would fall asleep, which he would sometimes, Eric would take him into the side-by-side, hold him until he woke up, bring him right back up to me, put him back on the horse, and let him go the rest of the day.
That's kind of weird.
Have you ever observed Eric sick or injured?
Yes. So my brother and I are very close. And so when he was an adult, he played sports all growing up. But when he was adult, he liked to play adult softball. He did get hit a few times. He got hit by a ball, and these games would go to like midnight, 1 o'clock. He would call me at 1 o'clock in the morning if he got hit to tell me my leg hurts. I don't know if something happened, if it is broken a little bit, if it's just bruised. And I would answer the phone no matter what time it was and say, hey, do you need me to come get you? What can I do to help you? And he'd be like, oh, I think I can toughen it out. I'll call you in the morning and let you know. But honestly, it didn't matter if he was in another country. He called me from other countries to tell me he didn't feel well. So if his mental or physical well-being was ever in question, he would call me.
Other than allergy medication, have you ever seen Eric use an over-the-counter drug?
The only thing I've ever seen him use is Advil.
Have you ever seen Eric use prescription drugs?
No.
Have you ever seen Eric use illicit drugs?
No. Growing up, my mom was a drug and alcohol counselor. She taught us the dangers of those, and really ingrained that in us.
Were you and Eric working on any future plans when he died?
Yes. So we were planning a trip to Disneyland that year to take our kids. He has a child. His middle child, Ashton, is extraordinary in math. We were finding programs to get Ashton enrolled in that summer for coding so that we could kind of harness that math. He was only 7 at the time, but he's just outstanding. So we had just barely gone to the zoo together. We kind of just planned our lives together. We talked all the time.
Are you familiar with the home that Eric lived in when he died?
Yes, I owned it and I sold it to my brother.
Scott, if you can bring up 1-1, please, for Your Honor, for everybody but the jury. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Is that the home that you sold to Eric and he lived in?
Yes.
Is it an accurate depiction of that home?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit 1-1.
No objection.
1-1 is admitted. Bear with me. There you go.
Where, Ms. Richins and Benson, is that home located?
That is in Francis, Utah.
And is it, it looks like it's on a cul-de-sac. Is it on a cul-de-sac?
Correct. It's on a cul-de-sac.
When did you sell him the home?
In the latter part of 2012.
Had you been to the home regularly between then and when Eric died?
Yes.
Do you know how many homes are on that cul-de-sac today?
So on that cul-de-sac, there's 7 homes with driveways that go into that road and cul-de-sac.
And do you know how many homes and roads were on, homes and driveways were on that cul-de-sac in 2019?
Yeah, all the homes were built out by 2016.
Thanks, Scott. Scott, can you bring up 4-1?
Why would you call your sister if you weren't feeling well if she couldn't do anything about it?
Can you scroll through it, please?
Weird.
Ma'am, do you recognize that document?
Yes, this is my brother's prenuptial agreement with Kouri.
And how do you recognize it?
I saw it the day they signed it. So on the day of his wedding is when they both signed it, and I read through it with him on the day of his wedding.
Your Honor, state moves to admit 4-1.
No objection.
4-1's admitted.
I'm going to leave it up there just for a minute for the jury, but I'm going to come back to that with them later. I'm not going to
Okay.
discuss that with you.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott. I would like to turn now to the morning that Eric died. Did there come a time in the early morning of March 4th, 2022, that you received a phone call about Eric?
Yes, it was early in the morning.
Who called you?
My dad did.
What did he say?
It's not easy. He was screaming and crying and said, Eric's not breathing, Eric's not breathing.
Where were you when you received that call?
So my daughter was sick. She was only 3 at the time. She'd just thrown up. I had taken her out of her room and brought her into my room. And I had just set her on the bed. And my husband had gone into the room to check on my other daughter that was a little bit older to make sure she was okay. I just set her on the bed and I had my phone with me. I set it on the bed and I saw my dad calling. And I picked up and said, Dad, how did you know I was up? With my sick little girl. And he started, whew, that's when he said, Eric's not breathing, Eric's not breathing. I screamed. I fell to the floor. My husband heard me and came running in, and I was screaming, he's not breathing. My husband thought that it was my daughter since she had just thrown up. So he ran over to her and said, she's okay, Katie, she's okay. And I said, no, it's Eric. And so I picked up my daughter that was right there. My husband went and got my other baby out of bed, and we ran out of the house.
Did you go to Eric's house?
Yeah, we went straight to my brother's house.
Who was there when you arrived?
Sorry, guys. This was the worst day of my life. I'm sorry. When I got there was a bunch of emergency personnel, police officers, and Kouri and her mom, Lisa, were there.
Did you see the boys?
That was one of the first things I did was try to find my nephews. They were in Ashton's room. I don't know how to orient you guys to the house. So as you walk in, Carter's room was to the right, and then you walk down a hall, and Ashton's room was the first room on the left. Then it was Weston's room, then a bathroom, and then my brother's room. So the boys were located in Ashton's room. So there were police everywhere. There was EMS. I didn't know everything that was going on, but I didn't want the boys right there where everyone was. There's police right outside their door. So I went and got them and took them upstairs. So in my brother's house, you go up some stairs, and over the garage, there's a bonus room. And they had everything in there. They had a TV, a Nintendo, all their toys in there. So I took them up there because I didn't want them by all the hustle and bustle of all the police and everything. So I took them up there, got them situated, then ran outside to my car to get my husband and my 2 daughters so that my husband could watch the boys and make sure that they were okay.
We'll talk more about the boys that day.
Okay.
Were you able to observe Kouri Richins that morning?
Yes, I did.
When you walked into the home, what were your immediate observations of her?
So like I had told you, we had gone on plenty of family vacations together. Kouri had been on the family vacations with us. I walked in, I kind of flung through the door, and I saw Kouri standing on the other side of the staircase. She just shook her head at me. Sorry, guys, bear with me. I apologize. And I knew right then my brother was gone. And I fell to the floor. She stayed over there. I observed that she was not how she normally was when we would go on overnights. She was very well put together. She had a matching pajama-esque outfit on. Her hair was all done up. She wasn't crying like I was. She wasn't hysterical. Just stood there and shook her head no at me.
What, if anything, did you observe about Kouri Richins' interactions that morning with her boys?
There weren't any until later in the morning. So, like I told you, my husband stayed up with the boys. I went up and down. My sister came up and down. A few people came up and down to check on the boys. I did not see her go up and check on the boys. And I repeatedly asked her, when can we tell the boys? I think we need to tell the boys. I kept coming down saying, I think the boys need to know. It wasn't until they wheeled my brother's body out and I stood by the stairs at the top of the stairs to make sure my nephews didn't come out to see because we didn't want it to see. And my husband was in the room with them. So they wheeled my brother's body out. My husband did his best. My daughter was throwing up and he was trying to block it from the boys so that they didn't see my brother being wheeled out. The boys did see my brother being wheeled out. My husband came out and told me that they were upset. And so we walked down and talked to Lisa, Kouri's mom, and Kouri again. And I said, the boys are really upset. They just saw Eric wheeled out. I think we need to tell them. And Lisa said, I guess we better. And Kouri said, yep, bring him down. So then we brought him down. And that's the first I saw her interact with him.
Were you there when Kouri Richins told her sons that their father had died?
Yes. So my husband and I brought the kids down. We're sitting on a couch, and in my brother's living room, they have a couch that kind of goes like this, like kind of curves around. So my husband was sitting on the edge with our daughters. I was sitting next to them. Weston, my brother's youngest, that was 5 at the time, was sitting in between me and Kouri. Kouri was on the other side, and then the other 2 boys were in front of us.
What did she say?
She let them know that their dad would not be coming back, that he was gone.
Just like that?
Yes, to my recollection.
Did there come a time shortly after that when she spoke alone with her middle son, Ashton?
Yeah, so right after she told the kids, Ashton got upset and went to his room. So his room was that room that they had been in. I went and checked on Ashton multiple times, and I remember him on his bed. He was on his bed with his covers pulled up, and I sat on the bed and I tried to console him, but he wanted his mom. I tried so hard to console him, but he wanted his mom. So I came out and told Kouri that Ashton was very upset and I thought she should go in. Took me a couple times of coming out to tell her. And I finally came out and I said, Kouri, I'm not his mom. I'm not his dad. He just lost his dad. He's very upset. I cannot console him. Can you please come in and talk to him? So she came into the room to talk to him. He got out of bed and ran to her. So they met kind of in the middle of the room. They held on to each other and then sat down on the floor. And I sat right next to him.
What did they discuss?
She was just consoling him. So just trying to get him to calm down. Right, that with Ashton, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
What did they discuss? She was just trying to console him.
Did they discuss Eric's Apple Watch?
They discussed Eric's Apple Watch later.
Okay, so we'll get to that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Did there come a time when Kouri Richins was consoling Ashton there and she was interrupted?
Yes. So Brianne Sorensen, which I believe was Ronnie, Kouri's brother's fiance at the time, I think they were engaged at the time, she came in to talk to Kouri. It was really interesting because Kouri was consoling and then she immediately kind of stopped and focused on, they would call her Bree. And Bree started talking about the closing of the Midway Mansion.
Does this do we need to go into that, Mr. Bloodworth? I guess what I'm saying is anything further regarding that necessary to develop the upcoming testimony?
Your Honor, the state's next question will be, how did Kouri react?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sustained. What Bree said is not admissible. Don't consider it.
Well, Your Honor, the content of the call, the content of the discussion.
Well, Kouri's side of it is not what they're objecting to. I think it's just that fact. Am I right, Ms. Nestor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're objecting to what Bree said.
Take it from there. I understand the contours here. Let's just wait for the next question.
Okay. How did Kouri react to what Bree said?
Kouri was very businesslike, very telling Bree exactly what to do. And I was dumbfounded. And I looked at Kouri and said, you can't tell me you're going to close on that Midway Mansion when my brother just died. And she looked at me matter of fact and said, yeah, absolutely. He has nothing to do with it. The money's already gone through. It's all my business. I'm going to.
What about the Apple Watch?
So the Apple Watch, Ashton, once he eventually came out of his room, he went and got my brother's Apple Watch. Kouri was standing by him. She took it from him and he said, I want my dad's watch. So I watched her take the watch, delete the entire watch, everything off of it, and then give it back to Ashton.
On the morning that Eric died, did Kouri Richins say anything about the house that they were living in?
Yes, she told me, so the house, the 282 Willow Court that they were living in with their kids, she told me she was going to sell it.
Did anything about that strike you as odd?
Yes, I honestly could not function. I couldn't even figure out like what was for dinner that night. I had just lost one of the most important people in my whole entire life. And she was planning on selling the house that he had just been wheeled out of, closing on a multi-million-dollar mansion. I could not wrap my head around it.
The point that Eric died, who did the house belong to?
When Eric died, the house belonged to Eric. Eric was the trustee of his trust. So the house was in a trust and Eric was the trustee.
And then once he died, who became the trustee?
I became the trustee.
After Eric died, did Kouri Richins have the ability to sell the house?
No, she did not.
That morning, did Kouri Richins say anything about Eric's stonemasonry business?
Yes. She had a plan for how she was going to run his stonemasonry business. She was going to hire one of his best friends. His name is TJ. TJ worked for Eric's business partner's dad and had grown up working with Eric and Eric's business partner, Cody, and Cody's family in their family business. And he still worked with Cody's dad, Shannon. So she said that she was going to hire TJ to run Eric's portion of the business for her and that he would take care of all of it.
So am I right that the morning of Eric's death, Kouri Richins told you her plans on purchasing the Midway Mansion, selling the home she lived in, and running Eric Richins' business?
Correct.
Do you recall a family meeting that was held on March the 5th, 2022, the day after Eric died?
Yes, I do.
What was the purpose of that meeting?
It was to start preparing for the services for Eric.
And who participated in the meeting?
So myself, my husband, Clint, my sister was there, Amy, her husband, Andrew, my dad, Gene, his friend, Tisha, Corey's brother, Ronald Darden, or Ronnie, as they call him, her half-brother, DJ, her, I believe Bree was there as well, his fiance, and then her mother, Lisa.
Did you?
You guys, she worked in real estate. The closing of the house was not for her to live in. It was a house that she had flipped and was selling. It was a business thing.
Know Eric's wishes regarding burial,
Yes, my brother wanted to be buried.
as opposed to cremation?
Yes, my family is very big on burial and not cremation.
Did in the course of that family meeting, the topic of cremation arise?
Yes, so we had gone through and planned the whole funeral. My brother would be buried by my mom, who the where he would be buried at, who the pallbearers would be, everything to like who would talk, who would say prayers, stuff like that. And at the very end, when I thought we kind of had it all wrapped up, Lisa Darden, Corey's mother, said, when are we going to talk about that Eric wanted to be cremated?
Did you observe Kouri react to her mother raising cremation?
Yes, I did. She looked shocked, like she was caught off guard at first. And then she went into it and said, oh yeah, he told me that he didn't want any bugs crawling on him after he was dead. It freaked him out. So we're cremating him. And I went on to ask, I said, Kouri, why did we just do a whole entire funeral based around the casket, the burial, the pallbearers, sorry, excuse me. And now you're just bringing up cremation. And she played it off and said, oh, well, isn't that what you do when you cremate them? And to that point, I said no. And then my dad started getting visibly upset because he knew his son wanted to be buried.
I need to take care of some business with handwriting samples now, okay?
Okay.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Of course.
I'm handing the witness 8-49. Ms. Richins Benson, are you familiar with that exhibit?
Yes, I am.
Generally, what is it?
So these are all handwriting samples from my brother, whether it be when he signed his name for stuff at work or for his will, any of that stuff.
Can you please just thumb through each of the tabs? I think, is there 14 of them?
16.
16?
Do I have to pay super close attention or am I okay?
No, I just want to make sure you know what they are.
Okay.
You've seen them before?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, if you're comfortable that you've seen them before, there's no need to slip.
Yeah.
For K1, did you get those documents from the lender on the 282 Willow Creek Road property?
Correct.
And are they accurate copies of what you received from the lender?
Yes.
Did you then submit those to the Bennett Tueller law firm?
Correct.
On K2, did you receive those haircut receipts from Kouri Richins?
Yeah. So they are also receipts from like Wasatch Steel, different. I know there is a haircut one in here, but yeah,
Okay,
they're
did
all
you
different
receive those
receipts.
receipts
Yeah.
from Kouri Richins?
Yeah.
Did you provide them to Bennett Tueller?
Yes, I did.
Turn please to K3 or tab 3. Under that tab, did you receive some tax documents from Greg White, some payroll documents from Integrated Solutions, and a hunting license?
Yes, these are all my brother's documents.
And did you submit those under tab 3 to Bennett Tueller?
Yeah. Only one I'm not 100% sure about is the hunting license, if I submitted that or not. I can't remember that one.
Okay. On K4, did you receive the check there from Allison, right?
Correct.
And did you get the loan documents on K4 from the lender on the 282 Willow Creek Road property?
Yes.
Did you submit those documents to tab 4 to Bennett Tueller?
Yes.
Tab 5, did you retrieve that driver's license from the mortuary that Eric's body was taken to?
Yes.
Did you submit that to Bennett Tueller?
Yes.
For tab 7, skipping 6, going to 7, did you receive those various construction contracts from Kouri Richins?
Yes.
And then did you give them to Bennett Tueller?
Correct.
For K11, did you obtain those healthcare records from IHC? Was
Yes.
that Intermountain Health something?
Yeah, Intermountain Healthcare.
Got it.
IHC's their old branding.
Did you submit those to Bennett Tueller?
Yes, I did.
For K12, did you receive copies of those checks and C&E business records from Allison Wright?
Yes.
And did you give them to Bennett Tueller?
Yes, I did.
For K13, there's some materials from a Ford dealership. Did you receive those from your husband, Clint Benson?
Yes.
And did you submit those to Bennett Tueller?
Yes.
Finally, for K14, is that a document from Weller Recreation Center that you received from your father?
Yes.
And did you give that to Bennett Tueller?
Yes, I did.
And did you give everything to Bennett Tueller in the same identical condition that you received it in?
Yes.
Thank you. Ma'am, I don't have any further questions from you at the moment.
Okay.
The defense attorneys probably will, okay? Thank you.
Your Honor, excuse me. This is going to be a fairly lengthy cross. It's going to go past noon. I don't know if you want to break now or if you want me to just plow in and then we'll break in the middle.
You approach for a minute.
Yes, sir.
No questions for dad, but a bunch for the sister. That's weird.
Folks, let's let you stretch your legs. We're going to come up with a plan here about what to do about the lunch hour. I just need a few minutes to figure it out. Okay, please rise for the jury.
How? Jill, how does a keto diet cause muscle loss? It's protein.
Tracy, you hand that call for a minute. Would you like some more water?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Do you mind refilling that? We're going to get a carafe for future witnesses, I promise. Okay, let's have a discussion about how to handle witnesses that are on both the state's list and the defendant's list.
Yes.
Ms. Nestor, what is the defendant's request?
So here is our request. There are probably,
Your Honor, can I pause? Can we excuse the witness?
yeah, that's fine with me. She can
That
sit.
would make sense, yeah. Do you, and is that so that she doesn't hear this discussion?
Correct.
Yeah. Do you mind stepping out into the lobby for a minute?
Yeah, Shirley was here.
You can take it with you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's your cup. Ms. Nestor, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I knew this was coming because of conversations we've had with witnesses, but there are multiple witnesses that the state is going to call, including Ms. Richins Benson, who also have information that relates to our case. She's just one, there's lots more. Obviously, if the state is going to shut us down from asking any topic that he didn't cover in direct, then we're going to have to recall all of these people. And this trial is going to get a lot longer, inconvenience a lot more people.
Well, it's the exact same amount of time. Tell me why it would be longer. It
Because
just complicates the directed verdict motion.
because of the fact that all of these witnesses will be required to come back twice, get resworn. We're going to have to lay foundation again that's already been laid to refresh the memory of jurors. We're going to have to go back over topics that have already been talked about just to refresh the memory of the jurors. We're going to be using exhibits that are already here, keyed up, ready to go. This court has the ability to control what happens in this courtroom. If you want us to call all these people twice, we will, but it seems a ridiculous imposition of burden on not only the witnesses, but the jurors to have to say, we're going to hear from them now and in 2 weeks from now. There's perfectly within your power to say, we're going to do everything this jury needs to do now. The state has the ability to come back on redirect and address anything that we bring up that they didn't bring up. But it seems a very inefficient way to run a trial. And it seems to be super hard on these witnesses to have to come back here twice and go through this 2 weeks apart. And especially what happens if something happens to them? What happens if she gets sick or she leaves the country and I'm stuck and I didn't get a chance to redo her? Then we've got a real problem in terms of the trial and the record. So, I mean, I've just never had a judge require me to do that unless it's just really unusual circumstances. So we're asking that every witness where we have information that the state decides not to go into, to let us do it now, not have to recall this witness, and then finally excuse her from her subpoena responsibilities.
You understand that to the extent the state raises relevance objections to your direct of this witness or another, I'm only going to have what's in the record so far. I won't have the whole picture.
Well, this is
to rule on that
confusing.
relevance objection.
I am not worried about anything we're going to talk with her about being decided to be relevant.
Okay.
I mean, it's clearly relevant. I'm just not worried about that.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, we're only talking to her about what happened with Eric, with this case, we're not going into anything outside of that.
Okay. Mr. Bloodworth.
Your Honor, the state prefers to present its case in an order that the state believes will provide a proper narrative to the jury without interruption. Sometimes a proper way to present a case is not most efficient way to present a case. And in an aggravated murder case, propriety has to take precedence over efficiency. So far, all these witnesses are local. I could see perhaps if there's an out-of-town witness, rather than inconvenience in the witness with an extended stay or repeated travel, we could make an exception. But as the rule, this trial is no different than any other trial where, pursuant to the rules, the scope of cross-examination is limited by the scope of direct. Thank you.
And then how are you going to object as far as leading or?
Ms. Nestor, we'll take this on a witness-by-witness basis. With respect to Ms. Richins-Benson, I imagine she's going to be in the courtroom every single day. And if she's not, she's certainly subject to the subpoena power of the court. And has somebody subpoenaed her so she can't beg out of appearing?
I mean, Katie appeared.
It's going to be confusing.
Okay. And that
call them
subpoena
when you
lists
need
the
to call
entire
them.
trial, correct?
It does. I have not yet released her from it, as
Right.
we do some witnesses.
Right. And so as long as I make clear to her that pursuant to that subpoena, she can be recalled at the order of the court, any danger that you were describing, Ms. Nestor, is mitigated.
Yeah.
It also means she can't stay in the trial for the rest. She's going to have to be excused under the exclusionary rule.
Katie's the
No,
is it
Marcy.
Katie or Amy that's the
Amy.
designated victim rep.
Amy,
Your Honor, the state had designated 2 victim reps, and it was Katie and Amy.
we object.
I understand you objecting to the 2.
We do. We object to 2. We don't object to Amy.
Right.
Right.
The state has to make a choice. If you'd like to proceed as you suggest, you're entitled to do so. That's fine, especially because Katie is subject to the subpoena power of the court. We can make sure that she comes back. But the statute talks in terms of 1 victim rep. The exclusionary rule says what it says. So the decision before the state is, do you want to, for this witness, allow direct to occur today so that there's no basis upon which to exclude Katie going forward? Or proceed with the presentation of the testimony as the state sees fit, understanding that may require exclusion of Katie. And I apologize for using first names. There's a lot of Richins. It's just easier. No informality is intended. Exclusion of Katie until her direct is completed in the defense case.
Your Honor, how about this? Was the court about to take a lunch break with the jury?
Well, is food here?
No.
Okay, so it'll be a bit. So I want to keep using time. So I thought we could use another, it would have been an hour, now 45 minutes.
Sure, Your Honor. Can we use that time for examination within the scope of direct? And then we take a lunch break. It will allow me to consult with Eric's family regarding
Exclusion.
the exclusion. It will also allow me, Your Honor, to refresh my memory. We had at the time, the state had appointed 2 victim representatives. Despite the language of the statute, we had briefed case law which expanded that language. And I just need to look back at that.
Yeah, I'm happy to be educated. But Ms. Nestor, may we proceed stepwise in that fashion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, we'll invite Katie back in, we'll invite the jury back in. We will complete cross-examination of Ms. Richins Benson. We'll take a lunch break. We'll sort out whether you want to proceed with her, whether I will allow you to proceed with her direct examination in your defense case today.
Also, just to make sure I'm clear, so Mr. Bloodworth brought up to Ms. Richins Benson the fact that she was the trustee. She testified about that, about the trustee and the assets being in the trustee, and that Kouri could not sell the home according to her.
That was her understanding, right?
Correct. So that means I can go into anything about the trust?
Well, it means you can ask her, you can seek to show that her understanding was incorrect.
Well, I have a pretty lengthy cross dealing with the trust, and I want to bring in the actual trust itself, the document, and I do believe the door's been open, so I'm just clarifying I can go into all that as part of following up on what he brought out in direct.
Well, you gotta be a little bit more. Oh, hold on. My apologies. Missed call. My bad. You're speaking in generalities, so it's hard for me to give you a ruling.
So one of the documents I want to use is the trust document itself.
Sure.
The state has not introduced it, but they have opened the door to it, in my opinion.
Well, they've opened the door to questions about what is your understanding based on?
Perfect.
Why do you think that?
Perfect. That's what I need.
Have you ever seen this document?
That's what I need.
But the trust is, to my memory, several pages long. I don't know that her testimony relates to most of it.
I probably won't even admit it. I'm just going to use it for her to look at it to refresh and when she's answering questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Your Honor, just to be clear, that within the scope of Kouri Richins' ability to dispose of the home.
Yeah, more specifically, Ms. Richins Benson's personal subjective understanding of
Correct.
Kouri Richins' ability to dispose of the home.
And not all the myriad of other subject
Like there's all
matters.
the isn't the trust going to all the C&E masonry interest and all that stuff?
It does, Your Honor.
Yeah. She didn't testify to any of that. Okay. All right.
Well, I assume they'll object and let me know if they think I go too far.
As both sides
Yes.
of the V do in trial. Anything further before we invite Ms. Richins Benson back in?
No, sir.
Mr. Bloodworth?
No, sir.
Let's do that first. Great. Did you just guess anything more?
That's why that diet's good for weight loss. What Marty said. That's how I lost the 70 pounds. By eating mostly protein. And my nutritionist is still on me about eating too many carbs. protein will keep you satisfied longer than carbs do because carbs burn up faster.
Do you mind taking the witness stand again? And then if you just stand with us, let's invite the jury in, please.
This is weird. Yeah, this is really weird. Weird.
Folks, have a seat. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. We'll proceed with cross-examination of Ms. Richins Benson. Then we'll take a lunch break. Thank you for your patience. Ms. Nestor, take it away.
May it please the court. Good morning.
Good morning.
We've never officially been introduced, but I know we've seen each other a whole lot. But again, my name's Kathy Nestor, and I'm one of Kouri's attorneys. So I want to talk to you about, I want to go back a couple of years before Eric passed.
Well, there's
You
a right way
mentioned
and a
in your
wrong way to
direct
do it.
testimony that you are the
Isn't it right?
trustee of a trust that Eric created. Is that right?
Correct.
And may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Of course.
I'm handing you a document that's been marked as IMP KRB1.
Okay.
Take just a second and look at that document and tell me if you recognize it. I certainly don't expect you to read the whole thing, but just tell me if you know what that is.
Sorry, I just want to make sure.
Sure, no worries. Take your time. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
So do you recognize that document?
Yes.
What is that document?
It's the Eric Richins Living Trust.
And is that the trust that you were referring to in your direct examination?
When
Mr. Bloodworth was questioning you?
With the house. Yes. This is the trust.
And that's the document that makes you the trustee if Eric should pass away.
Correct.
All right. Your Honor, at this point, I'd like to introduce this is Defense Exhibit 3001.
I don't either. I'm just saying for weight loss, it's
We're
good.
going to start it with the number 3.
Mr. Bloodworth.
Your Honor, no objections to the admission of the document. The state, of course, is going to admit it. I plan to admit it through the witness that prepared it. The state's just pausing on the nomenclature. We've referenced this document in other briefings by other exhibit numbers, which
We can resolve that going forward. We can come up with a common vernacular at some point.
right.
Okay.
Okay, but as to admission, no objection.
So just so the record is clear, if anybody ever has to read this, the Eric Richins Living Trust dated November 3rd, 2020 is admitted.
All right. And that's going to be Exhibit 3001, Your
For
Honor.
the time being.
Yes.
We'll see if we come
Change
up with
it.
a different vernacular going forward.
That's fine. Okay. Can you turn for me to section 1.03 of the trust?
In Ms. Nestor, will you let me know when you're ready to publish whatever you want to publish to the
I will,
jury?
thank you.
Thank you.
Do you see that? Does that list the objectives of the trust? Just to refresh your memory, let me know when you're finished reviewing it.
Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. What
That
was your
refresh
question
your
again?
memory a little bit. So is it fair to say that Eric's objective, as put in writing in the very beginning of this big old trust document, was to provide for both my wife and our children during any time I am incapacitated and after my death?
That's what's in there. Yes.
So it's,
I'm sorry. Can we publish this to the jury?
Sure.
We're seeing it on our screens, but the jury's not.
Yeah, she didn't ask
can
me
you
to. That's fine.
publish?
Would you like to?
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay.
you. That would be helpful. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right. And you agree that it was your understanding that this trust would provide for both Kouri and the boys. Is that
Yeah.
right?
It would provide for the beneficiaries, and those four are the beneficiaries.
And Kouri was a beneficiary of this trust.
She was a beneficiary of the trust.
And that's what Eric wanted.
I think the document
Your
speaks
Honor,
for itself.
objection.
I'll withdraw, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay. So basically there was as trustee, what is your understanding of your role as trustee? What is your role?
It's to administer the trust.
And what does that mean to you?
So to carry out my brother's wishes.
And with respect to the reality of that, there's a trust that holds assets. Is that your understanding? It holds his assets, whatever they are.
Correct.
And that includes cash and money and items, right?
Yes.
And you're supposed to see over that money and those assets
Correct. As the trustee.
and protect them, right?
Correct.
And distribute them to the beneficiaries as needed throughout their lifetime.
Based on what the trust says.
And that's your understanding of kind of your job, right?
Correct.
And as trustee, you get paid.
No.
You aren't taking a fee.
So my brother did put in the trust that I could be paid and I could reimburse myself for the time spent. I have never once been paid for the time that I spent. So I chose not to.
That's very generous of you. And that's because you want those boys to get everything they can, I'm sure.
I want all the beneficiaries to get everything they're entitled to.
Okay, thank you. So let's say 2 months after Eric died, Kouri wanted to buy a car. She could do that, but she would have to ask you first, right? As the trustee.
Can you reframe that? So with money from the trust,
Yes.
she wants to buy the car?
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of litigation. So she did a lawsuit 3 weeks after my brother passed to try to set aside the trust.
Okay.
So there's a lot of litigation. So I would work with my attorneys to figure out what was proper.
Let me ask it this way. What is your understanding of what, if there was no litigation, what you as the trustee of the trust were meant to do if one of the beneficiaries needed some money, if one of the boys wanted to go to private school, if Kouri wanted to buy a car? What was the process from your understanding?
So the trust was actually just split into two separate trusts. One for his 3 boys, who are the primary beneficiaries, and then another trust for Kouri. And you'll have to forgive me, I don't have the whole thing memorized.
Oh, of course not.
But it said in there what the money could be used for.
All right. So if Kouri wanted to spend some money out of the trust that was authorized in your opinion under the trust, it would be your job to say, yes, here is the money, and give her a check, right?
Correct.
And one of the things the trust authorized was care and maintenance of their home. Is that right?
So that the home is a trust asset.
Okay. So if the house needed repair, the trust could pay for that.
Correct.
If the trust could pay for the mortgage payments,
Correct.
the trust could pay for insurance on the house.
Correct.
So in the year after Eric died, how much money did Kouri ask you for to pay for anything related to the house, to her, to anything?
Pause for a minute.
Your Honor, objection in reference to the discussion.
Exceeds the scope.
Yes.
Sustained.
Okay. Did the trust pay any mortgage payments on the home after Eric died?
Ms. Nestor, it's the same objection.
Okay.
Sustained.
Has the trust reimbursed family members for costs paid to a private investigator?
Pause for 1 second. Go ahead.
Same objection scope, Your Honor.
We're well outside the scope of direct, Ms. Nestor. Sustained.
Can I approach?
Sure. Ms. Nestor, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just 1 minute. I'm trying to comply with your ruling. Just give me 1 second because I think there's another topic that I'm going to have to save for direct. Yeah, I think so. All right. All right. I want to talk to you about the day of Eric's death. You mentioned, I believe you mentioned that when you got there, Kouri looked put together.
Correct.
She was in pajamas. Is that right?
Like a matching sweatsuit.
She was in a matching sweatsuit.
Like sweatsuit, pajamas. I don't know the technical,
Okay.
what they were sold as.
And you
sorry.
said her hair was fixed.
It was pulled up.
It was pulled up in a messy bun. Is that what you recall?
But yet it was pulled up, neatly done.
Her hair was neatly done. That's what you recall.
Yeah, look similar to today, just on top of her head.
And you also said that you went to the ground and she just stood there and did not comfort you in any way.
Not that I recall.
Okay. Katie, can you please, just for the witness only, Your Honor, we'd like to play a clip. This is State's Exhibit 1-4.
Pause 1 second. Does this have sound? It won't now.
Doesn't have sound, I don't think.
Okay.
So only for her to review.
Well, hold on a second. It's real hard for me to do only the witness.
Oh, I
Can you
mean
do-
the witness and counsel.
Okay,
Sorry.
Mr. Bloodworth.
It's S1-4.
Of course.
What did Bob do now? Your boy today.
1 minute, folks. Thank you.
Hey, that's my finger, not a cookie. If it's dirty but it's not in the hamper, it doesn't get washed. Travis washes everything that's in the hamper on Sundays. Every Sunday.
I'm waiting on this. Just pull up the blurb. Is it that exact same clip with the blurb?
Well, since the day we married,
That's fine.
anything
Okay, I
that he
think we're gonna
fuzzes
pull
at
up
me
their
that I do
amended one that they
wrong,
just served.
he
like,
does it.
2 days ago.
I refuse to fight with him. I do it wrong, then you do it.
Scott, you let me know when you're ready to go.
Judge, you should have just made her recall him for her case. This is confusing. And so now he's going to object that every question is outside the scope of cross because she's trying to do a direct examination and she doesn't need to do it
Take your time.
now.
This is no one's fault. This was a brand new version that we have not even seen yet. So we're trying to accommodate their new version.
No problem.
Sorry, just 1 second.
Why do lawyers act like this first time they've ever done something? Travis thinks he's the only one that knows how to load a dishwasher. Every time I do it wrong. Except if I leave a dirty dish on the counter, he's like, why didn't you put that in the dishwasher? Because you're going to yell at me that I put it in there wrong. I don't do the lawnmower.
Your Honor, can
Nope. I'm allergic to
court
grass.
instruct the jury just on
My
the
face
question?
swells up, my eyes turn red, I start
We're just making
sneezing.
sure that the faces of children are blurred. Something we need to do throughout the case. They are still photographs that are on the wall depicted in an exercise of caution. We just want to make sure we blur those before we publish them.
Yeah, I think
This
you're
is
right,
going
Judy,
out
about
to
this
the
trial
world.
being a hot mess.
Ms. Nestor, Mr. Bloodworth, would you approach for a moment?
A lot of times I'll put something in there and he'll go, this can go in the dishwasher? And I'm like, yeah, I put it in there.
This is like watching paint dry. That's not fair to you. So let's give you a lunch break. Counsel, we have brought lunch for the jury in today. Is a 30-minute lunch break agreeable?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. We will take a break until 12:40. Katie, if you'd sit tight for me for 1 moment.
Okay.
All right. Please rise for the jury.
I wanted to take a nap. I don't have time to take a nap.
All right, have a seat. Thank you. During this lunch break, it's as if you are still on the stand and it's not a take-home exam. So I need you to isolate yourself, not talk to anybody.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 30 minutes. Just keep to yourself. If
Okay.
you need to grab a sandwich or from somebody else, that's fine.
Okay.
We just can't have you conferring with anybody about anything.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Bloodworth, anything further?
Your Honor, can I retrieve 849 from the witness?
Of course. Ms. Nestor, anything further?
No, sir.
We'll be in recess until 12:40. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, guys. I'm going to start another stream. And maybe take a 15-minute nap. I don't know. So, you guys come find me after the break. What time is it? So, 2:40 Eastern, 12:40 their time. Oh, he scared me. He just popped up. Okay, guys, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.